Join me as I create some incredible crafts using metal, wood, plastic, and paper. Welcome to the Chic Show. Today's playlist is hosted by Sunflower Tasha DIYs, Lady Red Crafting, and Joanna's DIY Life. I have their channels and a link to the playlist in the description box below. For the metal piece from my stash, I chose this metal hoop heart, and I'm also going to be using 2 of these garlands from Dollar Tree. I'm using a little twist tie to secure the end of the garland to the middle of the heart just so it won't move around while I am wrapping my garland around the hoop. I'm just going to wrap and wrap and wrap, and I'm going to try and use 1 garland for each half of the heart. Now, I did find that hard to do. It was hard to squish it together enough to do that, so I ended up just wrapping it all the way around and then taking the second garland and wrapping it all the way around from the other direction. Once I have them both wrapped around, I did secure them again with just some twist ties, and now I'm just going to make a white silk bow to hang from the top. I love this very simple and discreet Halloween decoration that could actually be used all year long. Project number 2, I'm going to be using a piece of wood. For this project, I'm going to be mixing together these 2 milk paints, and then I'm going to be adding a white milk paint to it as well, just to lighten the color a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and mix the dry milk paint together, and then I'm going to add some water until I get the consistency that I'm looking for. This is a flooring sample that my husband had in the garage, and I'm just going to take it and paint this milk paint all over it. I am going to give it several coats, and I'm going to use my heat gun in between each coat to try and get some crackles. As you can see here, I did get a good crackle, and now I'm going to put a top coat. This is DIY's Big Top, and I'm going to paint that over the top so that it doesn't continue to crack. I'm just going to use my ruler and a pencil to kind of sketch out a church shape on the front of this piece of wood. Now that I have it like I want it, I'm going to use some white paint and fill in all the spaces. I'm just starting by painting the outline of the building, and then I'll go back and fill everything in. Once the paint dries, I'm going to lightly sand over it with my little finger sander, and I think I forgot to tell you, but the paint that I used is Waverly and Plaster. Now I'm going to go back and outline the building in Elephant Chalk Paint by Waverly. I'm using a very thin brush, and I'm trying not to overthink it too much. Now every little white church needs a cross, so I'm going to add that to the top. I'm using these rub-on transfers from Dollar Tree to add to the top of the church. I didn't have a wreath, so I thought these would work just as well. So I applied that transfer and then I gently sanded over the top of it just to make it look a little bit more worn like the rest of the piece. Now I'm adding some rusted floral wire to the top. I did drill those 2 holes in it once I had completed the project. As you can see, I'm just securing the wire by twirling it around a pencil and then pushing it flat. For plastic, I'm using these plastic hearts from Dollar Tree. These are actually little gift containers, and I had originally spray painted them pink and then used some gold leafing on top, but I'm going to update them a little bit more today using some molds that I ordered from Amazon. I've dusted these with cornstarch, just regular everyday cornstarch, and I'm going to be using this air hardening clay from Hobby Lobby. I've never used this brand, so I don't know what it's going to work like, but we shall find out. So now I'm just cutting around that excess clay, and I can tell you I already do not like this clay. I think paper clay is much better, and IOD paper clay is the best. This is kind of sticky and hard to cut, but we'll see how it turns out. Now I'm just using some Titebond Quick and Thick to glue these clay molds to the center of the hearts. I had some acrylic paint that matched the pink, so I'm going to be painting the molds with the pink paint. Now that the paint is dry, I'm going to be dry brushing over the top of the molds with some gold Rub and Buff. Now I'm going to add a gold heart rub-on transfer to the center of this little pink heart. Project number 4 is using paper in the form of a heart-shaped paper box from Dollar Tree. I had some white milk paint that I had left over from a project I had done earlier, and I'm just going to be painting this box with that white milk paint on the top, bottom, and sides. Milk paint does oftentimes crackle, but I wanted to be sure and have this crackle, and since it's a little unpredictable, I decided to use some of PintArt's fine line crackle varnish. And you put on the white varnish first, and then once that's dry, you go back and you lay over it with the darker varnish. You are supposed to use a darker paint over this to show the crackles, so I mixed up a custom color paint. It looks pretty gross on camera, but in person it's not too bad. But you can see how it does bring out those crackles. Now I'm going to use some of Dollar Tree's rub-on transfers. I've had these for a while, but they're very pretty and they worked very well. I cut the strips apart and I'm going to put this around the side of the heart. It did take 2 strips plus part of a third one. You do definitely want to put the lid on it before you do this so that you don't get your rub-on transfer too high and then the lid cover it up. Now for the top, I'm going to be using one of these clear stamps that I ordered from Amazon, and I'm going to stamp that on first so that I can use the rub-on transfers around the saying. Well, actually, it's a Bible verse. I cut apart the rub-on transfer so that I could piece it together around the sides of the heart. I used some smaller pieces just to complete the look. To bring out the crackles a little bit more and to kind of tie in the rub-on transfer with the look of the rest of the box, I used some clear wax to seal it in, and then I went over it again with a dark wax. I then went back with a clean paper towel to wipe off any excess. I love the way this little box turned out, and I hope you like it too. Would love to know which of these projects and which medium is your favorite. Here's a look back at all 4 of them. I truly hope that you will check out our host channels in the description box below, and especially the playlist. There are lots of talented people on here and you will get a lot of inspiration. Here's another video I think you might like. Thanks so much for watching. Remember to share the chic. Bye now.